Hey everyone, welcome to another MLM dumpster fire. Today we're back to watch Jen from Scentsy. This video is called The Dip, What You Need to Know. I presume it's a dip in your business, in your MLM business, that she's gonna talk about. It's a little bit lengthy as well. This week's videos are a little bit longer than usual, but we're gonna get through them, I hope. I mean, I have to. I don't know about you guys, but we're just gonna get right into it. Don't forget to click the like and subscribe button if you'd like to support my channel. That's a nice free way that you can do that. And as always, big shout out to all my channel members. I wonder if Jen is gonna be really rude today because she tends to be very, very rude in my opinion to her downline, but let's see. I didn't watch it, so I'm blind reacting as usual.
Hey everybody. Coffee and talkie time. So pumped. Hey. I'm guessing it's it's the middle of a Thursday of the
Are you pumped? Because you sure don't look pumped. You look like you don't want to be here.
day. So I'm not sure how many people are gonna be able to pop on today, but as I learned from my UK friends that I met at the SSD event at Disney World, she said she starts like every live video with "just popping in," and I thought that was so cute. Hey, just popping in. So that's what I'm doing, just popping in. Hey Michelle, hey Stacy, what's up guys? So if you are here, say hi. And I wish that there was a way for me to like move these. I wonder if I do this. Nope. I was going to see if I could move the widgets around on my computer so I could see the comments at the same time, but I think I can. So hi, it's been a minute and I wanted to do a coffee and talkie today since I was on family vacation during our Rockstar Rally normal time this month. Hey Virginia. Hey Brittany. Hey Marissa. Disney was so fun. So I'll give you a quick update while people pop on real quick. Hey Angel. Hey Kat. I was in Disney with Scentsy for a special SSD training, so Superstar Directors. And hey Alexandra, that's so cute. And we all did a day with Disney Institute, which was really incredible, where Disney basically writes their own like leadership training, because Disney is known for being kind of the best in the world at leadership, marketing, making people feel important, business excellence, like they're kind of known for that. So we went to this full day training with just incredible content that I really hope to, not necessarily like regurgitate to you guys, but model to you in the way that I build my business and the way that I lead and the way that I work over the next several months. So I really hope to be able to share that with you through action, essentially. And it was a really incredible experience. It was super fun. And then we had a family trip planned for many, many months now. We booked it last year. And we had a family trip planned 48 hours after I came back from that. So I was in Disney for a week with Scentsy, home for 48 hours, and went back to Disney for a week with my family. And it was so freaking fun, but I literally was at Disney for 2 weeks, which brought me home like exhausted and needing a week to sleep. But it was so much fun. It was so much fun going adults only, so much fun going with Scentsy, so much fun doing the Disney Institute. Loved getting to see Scentsy's name in the park, in Epcot. Incredible experience, pretty cool. And doing the butterfly garden was so neat. And then it was so cool to go back the next week and watch my daughter have fun. And it was like fun in a different way. It was fun watching her have fun, and I loved it in a different way because of that. So it just really was an incredible 2 weeks. I still feel like I'm tired and catching up from all of it, but it really was incredible. So that's where I was during our normal Rockstar Rally time. So I wanted to work in some coffee and talkie for you. Also, because there's some things going on in Scentsy that I want to talk to you about, and I want to kind of pull back the curtain a little bit. I want you to see what's going on, where we're going, what's happening. Also, if you guys haven't seen these super cute headbands in the Scentsy family or Scentsy's Success store, I highly recommend. They come in like a 2-pack. There's like a, I think a yellowy one, and then I got this. There's a 2-pack. It's over there somewhere. It's like a different print, but they're super freaking cute.
The fact that she's calling them family, whatever. I mean, this is an update, so not much useful information so far, but we still have half an hour, so don't you worry.
So I wanted to talk to you about the dip. The dip. If you are, hey Christina, hey Haley, if you are a leader in Scentsy, you have probably heard the term the dip. If you have been around as long as I have, you have heard of the term the dip. If you have been with Scentsy for 10 years or more, you maybe have heard of something called the dip. So I want to kind of give a little bit of insight here. I want to kind of check your vibe, see how you're feeling, see what you're thinking, what's going on, and also give you a little bit of encouragement for what's going forward and what's to come with Scentsy. I haven't had any issues, Haley. I also haven't placed any orders yet today. So maybe open a support ticket real quick or reach out to consultant support and see if there's like some kind of something happening, like payment issues or whatever. But let me tell you about the dip.
Can we stop saying the dip now?
So every single business in the world has high times, low times. Times that are like super duper fast and you can't keep up and it's a whirlwind. Enter in the last 2 years for us and with Scentsy. And times that are like you feel like you're pulling teeth to get sales, to book parties, to get people to join your team. You feel like your team isn't responding to you and nobody wants to work and nobody's driven and people are losing interest. And you have those kinds of times in your business. You have times when people call you to order, and you have times where you call people and you keep getting no, right? Your business, just like your life, is so full of all different types of situations. Your business, just like your life, has highs and lows, ups and downs, good times and bad, easy times and hard times.
I'm only noticing now that the audio is a little bit off from the image, and that's just how the video was on YouTube, so there's nothing I can do about that. Sorry about that. I hope it's not too distracting.
And there's not one of you here who hasn't had a very hard time in your life. There's not one of you here who hasn't encountered something in your life that's been difficult. And you could liken that to a dip in your business. The coolest thing is that every difficult thing, every hard time that you have ever encountered in your life, you have survived. You have survived every single one. You have made it through every single one. It's the same thing with dips in your business, if you decide not to quit. So, what is a dip? A dip is, so basically every business has a very natural S-curve. I'm backwards, so I'm gonna go this way. Where a business begins, right? And it might be like really, really slow taking off. And then we do something called this. We just experienced something in the last 2 years called hypergrowth, where our business was kind of going up, and then it went like overnight, right? The last 2 years were up. And after every business has an up time, they kind of flatten out a little bit and they dip. It happens to every single business in the world. Scentsy has had dips before, and we are entering into and or are in currently a dip now. So, and there are so many different reasons why dips happen. There are different reasons why hypergrowth happens. There are different reasons why those heights happen.
For example, a hypergrowth happened during 2020 for all MLMs when people were losing jobs, people were at home, people were looking for anything to bring them a little bit more extra income. And then the dip was later on when none of those people made money and the world went back to normal. And or all of those people or most of them realized that there is nothing's going to come out of their MLM biz. The dip now could be that all MLMs are struggling, and we've known that for over a year now that they've been struggling. So I think Scentsy, I don't know, but I don't think that Scentsy has been in a hyper growth in the past year or so.
And honestly, I think the success of the last 2 years, it was like the perfect storm of people were home, people were online shopping, people needed extra money because they lost their jobs, so people joined Scentsy. People were online partying, and they're really not now because they were indoors. There were so many.
I swear I did not watch this beforehand, so I just said what she said.
Reasons, and it really was a perfect storm. On top of the fact that I really think we kind of hit a time in our Scentsy life where we had the best products we've ever had.
You had a hyper growth during COVID, right? And then it dipped, but it never, even if it went back up, I think this was in early 2024 or late 2023 that you recorded this video, I'm not sure anymore. Went upwards during the pandemic, then it dipped, and now either it's going down as well, or it might have evened out a little bit. I doubt that the hyper growth is ever gonna be like it was during the pandemic, because that was really a, well, hopefully once in a lifetime opportunity for MLMs to grow.
In the last 2 years. I really, really do believe that. I feel like we were at like a creative peak. We were at like a fragrance peak. We were leading in the industry. Also, people were home and they wanted their homes to smell good and feel good. People were redoing.
I don't think that Scentsy was leading in the industry, but okay.
Doing their spaces. People recognized the value of making their home a place that they wanted to be. There were so many factors that went into our success over the last 2 years. And then there's all of you and all of us and our individual hustle, our goals, our drive. And for those of you who joined within the last 2 years and you're about to go into this dip, or you're in a dip now, you're like, WTF is happening? I should probably quit, right? When in reality, you shouldn't quit. This is temporary and it's a dip. And there will be more dips in the future, and there have been dips in the past. But you only know this hypergrowth, right? For anyone who's joined in the last, I'm going to say 3 years, you only know big success, big numbers, products selling out because we can't keep them on hand. You know, but before 2 years ago, products never sold out, ever. We didn't even have a back order list because back order wasn't a thing. So if all you know is what you've seen over the last couple of years, I can totally understand why you would look at what is happening right now in your business. And nothing's like crazy wrong, by the way. Let me just tell you that. But I see the numbers, okay? The numbers are really low right now. They're very, very low. All of our individual sales are very, very low. There are some people who are experiencing great success, but even for them, you know, like there are people who have 2,000 PRV right now, but even for them, they're like, oh my gosh, usually I'm at 3,000 or 4,000 right now, right? So nothing's really wrong. But what I'm trying to get at is, if you have been here only for the last couple of years, and now you're seeing what's happening right now or today in your business, and you're looking at your numbers and you're like, what the frick? I should either quit, either find another company to join, or I gotta get a different job, or this isn't worth my time.
Yeah, as you should. If you're in an MLM, you should absolutely leave and find something else.
My time, right? All these things are going through your head. How can I pay my bills? I better cut back on my luxuries. Okay. I totally understand how you could have those feelings and look at it that way and see it, because you don't know anything else. You've never seen a dip before. You don't know. So there have been dips before with Scentsy. I have been through dips before. So this year in November, I will celebrate my 12th Scentiversary, my 12th year with Scentsy.
Scentiversary, so cringy. Also, I think this was 2023 then, maybe October or September in 2023, so last year. So I love how she was trying to convince people in this call that, oh no, this is just a temporary dip. We're gonna go back to hyper growth. And like, in my opinion, Scentsy never recovered. It's never gonna be as good for them as it used to in the pandemic. So I love how she's convincing people it's gonna get better, but it didn't. We're at the end of 2024 almost, and it really didn't get much better for Scentsy, did it? I'd say they're still dipping.
Which is insane. So I have been around for a long time and I've seen a lot of different dips come and go. I've seen periods of hypergrowth. I've seen periods of like, I just can't keep up, like things are so busy. And I've seen periods of like, literally, I can't get anyone to book a party. And it's like pulling teeth to get people to reorder a 6-pack. And they're like, oh, I don't want to spend $30, so I'll just get 2 bars. And I'm like, I've been there. I've been at all those places. I promise you, you're not alone, okay? But here's the difference between me and someone else. I didn't quit. I didn't quit during a dip. And I never looked at the dip and thought, this is the end. This is the end. Scentsy's closing their doors. My luck has run out. My business is failing. I should probably go get a job. I never looked at my business or my future and thought that. Now, if you have thought that, you're not wrong. It's okay. It's okay to have those feelings. But I want you to hear me very clearly. What you do in your business right now, what you do in the dip, okay? What you do over these next 6, 12 months, 2 years, what you do during this dip determines how big your next swell will be. Here's what I mean. Every business, I'm backwards for you, so I'm trying to think. Every business has these curves, right? And dips, and then curves, and then dips. So we call it an S curve, okay? The true test of growth is if your peak here is higher than your peak was here, okay? Okay? This is the true test of growth. The true test of growth is not from this peak to the dip. The true test of growth is from peak to peak. Are these peaks higher than each other?
Yeah, and even if there was a peak after the pandemic in Scentsy, it's definitely not bigger than it was in 2020.
The true test of growth is seeing, is my next swell bigger than my last one? And my dip, is it higher than the first low? Okay? That is the ultimate test of business success. If you can see that your dip here is lower than this dip here, okay? That's the true test of business success. You can literally go get a master's degree right now in business, and you're going to learn about this. Every business goes through this. Most businesses never make it past their first dip.
You don't believe what I'm saying? Oh, go get a master's degree in business and you'll see that I'm right. Okay, Jen, calm down.
They just fail. Either they have an income problem, cash flow problem, they have poor plans for their future, they grew faster than they could accommodate for. Most businesses don't make it past the first dip. In Scentsy, a lot of consultants quit during the dip. And you know what they go back to? They go back to a life of mediocrity. And mediocrity, average, is not what we're doing here. You are a radiant rock star, which means we're not building average lives. We're not building average businesses here. We're building...
First of all, no one in your downline is building a business. You all are independent contractors for Scentsy, Jen, and I think you know that. But also, you're not building anything average. How many people do you have in your downline, and how many of them are actually earning a significant income where they don't need to hold a full-time job? from Scentsy? How much of them are actually profiting from Scentsy? The majority of people in your downline are not profiting. So I would rather live an average, mediocre life doing a corporate job that gives me benefits, paid holidays, and pays me for the hours that I work, rather than being in Scentsy, working for free, listening to your condescending and rude, in my opinion, trainings, never making any profit. Let's take a look at the income disclosure statement very quickly. It's going to be linked in the description box below as well. Median annual commissions for group 1, which is the people who are higher at the top of the company, is $963 per year. And then group 2, which is the lower level, median annual commissions are $133 per year. So Jen, that sounds very, very below average or mediocre, what you're building in Scentsy.
Big businesses. We are doing life-changing things. We are changing the course of families' future. We are breaking generational cycles. That's what we do. You're a radiant rock star. That's what you do. Okay? You are not average. You are not basic. You are not like the rest of the world unless you choose to be, unless your choices make you average and your choices make you like the rest of the world. Okay? Please don't quit during the dip. If I quit during the first dip, first of all, like I talked about the other day, none of you would even be here. None of you would even be here. Okay? I think that that's something that's so profound that you have to think about. And a lot of times we don't think, because we're just so short-sighted, and we think about like our own house and our own finances and our own life, and that's it. But what you don't realize is that if you quit, there are people who will never join Scentsy and their lives be changed because they were supposed to join with you. Or people
Thank God there are people who will not be scammed out of money, in my opinion, if you quit today. So you should quit your Scentsy business, in my opinion.
people that you lead that are now left leaderless or floundering because you checked out or you became disinterested. It's not just about you. It's really about the impact that you can have on the lives of other people. And if I ever quit during any of the dips that I encountered in my business, some or all of you would not even be here, because this organization wouldn't happen, and the
That would have been great, in my opinion.
people that are on my team wouldn't have recruited you, and I wouldn't have recruited you, right? You see how the cycle works, and do you see how it's so much bigger than you? So that's number one. Number two, if you quit during the dip, you won't be a part of the next swell. There will be a next swell. There always is. Fragrance isn't going anywhere. People's love for fragrance isn't going anywhere. Scentsy's not going to stop being the best fragrance company on the planet one day. Like, we have nothing but good things. And if you quit now, or you slow down now, or you mentally check out now, or you ghost on your team now, you won't be around to enjoy the benefits of the next swell. And the next swell is coming and will come. And you can take it from me because I've been around for plenty of dips and swells. So in the most recent swell that we just had, I mean, guys, here's what I want to tell you. The goal of this is to build your business so big that even the dips and the lows are still an incredible blessing to your family and your life and your business. You can build your business to a point where your business is so big and your income is...
That doesn't make sense to me at all. How can a dip or a bad downward be a blessing? I don't understand what she's trying to say. And maybe that's just me.
so great that even the lowest checks are like mind-blowing and more than the average American is earning. Even your lowest checks can be more than the average American earns in 6 months.
Okay, sure.
You can build your business to that point. Now, you want to hear some real truth? My check in May and my check in April,
Take a look at the income disclosure statement again.
they were drastically different. okay? Drastically different, like 50% different. So what I made in May was 50% of what I made in April. That's a pretty big chunk. But my paycheck in May is still more than the average American makes in several months. And that
Yeah, because you're at the top of the pyramid scheme. I mean, you're at the top of Scentsy. That only happens for you and 1% of other reps in Scentsy. It doesn't happen for the majority of people because they're not profiting at all. Even during the hyper growth, some people are not profiting at all from Scentsy. So maybe for you, that's great, whatever. You earn a lot of money, but the majority of people in your downline aren't.
that is life-changing income. That is the most incredible blessing. And if you don't stick through the dips, you won't make it to the swells, and you sure as heck won't get to that point where even your lowest check is more than you could have ever dreamed. Okay? You sure won't make it to that point. So you can't quit on that. I want to read you a little excerpt from a blog. So, by the way, Seth Godin, Godin, Seth Godin, he wrote a book called The Dip. It's short. It's a short read, super good. He talks about this business cycle, what it feels like. He talks about the difference between great businesses who build monumental legacies and businesses who fail, businesses who skulk back into mediocrity or into never being known, the great pool of average, right? He talks a lot about that. And so I highly, highly recommend picking up that book. But I want to read you this little excerpt from a blog that's talking about the dip. So this is Rick Payne, and he wrote this blog, and he says, when you take the road less traveled, are you guys all familiar with The Road Less Traveled, the poem by Robert Frost? I remember it from high school. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference, okay? Robert Frost, very, very famous poem. By the way, two roads have diverged in a wood for you right now with Scentsy, okay? You can take the one less traveled, which is to stick it out through the dip. And in fact,
Is that all Scentsy behind her? I'm trying to see. Oh my god, it is. All of that stuff behind her, I'm pretty sure is Scentsy products. So, inventory loading much, Jen?
this is the most important time for you to dig deep and work really hard and build and grow an incredible, healthy, strong foundation so that your next swell is freaking ginormous, okay? And I'm going to just give you a little side note that there are 3 people in my mind who have done that, and they all promoted to superstar director in our last swell, okay? So these people, Alicia Shadan, Andrea Keene, and Patricia Morrow, they all have been through a dip in Scentsy, and every single one of them, I've had conversations in the past with every single one of them where they're like, my paycheck isn't growing, or my team size isn't growing, or like what I'm doing isn't working, or I'm working so hard and things aren't coming together and I'm not getting paid and I'm not getting promoted. And in the most recent swell, what happened? They all promoted to superstar director. That's the very top of this company because they dug deep in the dip. In the dip, you have to trust the process. You have to keep working, building, growing. That's the time to be more committed than ever. When things are hard, you should be more committed than...
I guess I just don't understand. How can you trust the process? Whatever. In a business model where the majority of people are not making any profit, how can you trust anything in that kind of business model? Unless I guess you're at the tippy top like Jen here, and she doesn't really care, in my opinion, about her downline not profiting.
Committed than ever. It doesn't mean quit. And you know what? That's what our world says right now. If something's hard, you just quit. False. Don't do that. When you take the road less traveled, it is certain that the journey will be fun for a while, okay? Liken it to all of you. When you started Scentsy, so fun, so lighthearted, so great. You'll feel you're making progress, but the further you get from familiar surroundings and start to confront challenges you may not have seen before, your initial enthusiasm will start to wane. This is the dip. The dip is where it's not too much fun anymore. The going gets hard. The uncertainty of the outcome seems to increase, and we start to ask ourselves questions like, is it worth it? Can I do it? What's wrong with what I've got? What's wrong with me? What if it doesn't work? Etc., etc. But here is Seth Godin's big message. We've all experienced a dip at various times in our lives, from the time we started to walk, to the time we went to college, to when we started golf or skiing or anything else that required the acquisition of skill through experience and learning. And here it is, we've all gotten through the dips we faced and persevered with in the past. And if something is worth doing, it's inevitable that it will present you with a dip. And it's the place where your sense of success happens as you break through the barriers. And the deeper the dip, the greater the reward. And the deeper the dip, this is the key point, okay? Listen closely. The less likely it will be that your competitors will follow you, because most people, once they get settled in their life, do not pursue greatness. As Seth Godin says, they settle for less than they are capable of. Woo! Woo! Most people do not pursue greatness. Dips separate those who pursue greatness from those who remain in the pool.
I just find it so funny, but also frustrating how these top leaders in MLMs, a lot of them seem to think that they are above everyone else. Just because they have money and they're top 1% or less in this MLM company, they think they're so great and so amazing and capable. And in reality, they're just scamming people out of money. Like, the majority of people in their downlines are not profiting. The majority of people in MLMs in general are not profiting. But these top leaders seem to think so highly of themselves when they're actually recruiting people into a business model that's never gonna make them any profit. In my opinion, they're scamming people out of money as well, especially those who are aware that the majority of people in their downline are not profiting, and they're still recruiting people for their own personal and financial benefits. But at the same time, they think of themselves so highly, like they're such good people, they're so successful, and they're better than anyone else. And I don't agree with that. If you're scamming people out of money, you are not that great, in my opinion.
Of animosity and average for the rest of their lives. You guys, this is the time.
I mean, I would much rather be average until the rest of my life rather than get rich in a product-based pyramid scheme.
To dig deep, perfect your skills, to test your level of commitment. This is your time to grow your brain. This is your time to develop your emotional skills. This is the time to work on leading. This is the time to focus on culture, the culture in your business, the culture in your team, the culture in your home, the culture in your relationships. This is the time to focus on all of that, so that when the next swell comes, the next peak comes, it is higher than you could have ever imagined, and you are riding the wave. Because you did all the hard work in the hard time. Because you did all of the hard work in when it was so hard and so tough and you wanted to quit. And you saw everybody else around you quitting. And you saw all the other people going back to being average. Don't be average. Don't be average. The dip has its place.
I'm sorry, first of all, there is nothing wrong in being average and working for corporate. At least you get benefits, you get paid holidays, you get paid for the work that you do, unlike in an MLM. If you join an MLM, that doesn't make you above average. Again, if you are successful in an MLM, just because you have money, that doesn't mean that you are better than everyone else who is average and isn't rich. And also, third, what the hell is she gonna talk about for another 10 minutes? I don't know. This is too long, in my opinion.
In your life and in your business. It doesn't mean that anything's wrong. It just means that it's time to shift your focus. Focus on all those things that I just talked about. Focus on culture, perfecting your skills, getting your organized, like get your poop in a group and get organized. Get your office clean. Get systems in place that work for you so that when you do have the next swell, it's like a well-oiled machine and you're not running around like a chicken with your head cut off. Do get in a rhythm of training every Tuesday with the Tuesday training call. Do get in a rhythm of putting good things into your mind and your heart, like blogs and podcasts and YouTube training videos. Do pursue greatness. You can do better than you've been doing. Do not settle for mediocrity, because that's what everyone else in the world will do. This is not the time to go get another job. There was another, I've got to.
Absolutely. If you need more income, if you need another job, another part-time job or something on top of your other job that you're doing, you should absolutely find a normal part-time job, non-MLM type of job, because if you start an MLM on the side, you're never going to make any profit anywhere. You're just going to end up working for free. So if you need more income, you should definitely find another job or do something else online or freelance or whatever, but don't join an MLM, because the MLM is not going to bring you that additional income that you need.
I've got to find this little blurb in here because it was so good.
Oh my God.
It was so good.
Yeah, so good.
So there's a book by Jim Collins, and he wrote about something called the hedgehog concept. And the hedgehog concept refers to 3 intersecting circles, and the sweet spot of those 3 intersecting circles is where excellence lives. And that was actually one big thing that I really learned at Disney Institute and took away from there, was they talked about their relentless pursuit of excellence. And that phrase like just keeps playing in my head over and over and over and over again. And every single word is so powerful. Relentless pursuit and excellence. So like the first thing is pursuit. Like pursuit means that you are like intentional. You're not waiting for things to come to you. You have a plan, you're making it happen. You understand that it's relying on you. You understand that you are the key factor in something happening or not. Pursuit. Like, what are you pursuing? And if you're not actively pursuing something, then you're not really, I mean, you can't say you're working, right? If you don't have a plan, if you don't have a goal, if you don't have something you're working towards, you're just kind of floundering. So pursuit was huge. Relentless, and I was like, oh my gosh, like relentless is such a powerful word. And I don't think any of us can say that we are relentless in our pursuits. None of us, which means we can all do better. Every single one of us. Relentless pursuit of excellence. Another phrase that I learned in Disney that I just can't get out of my head is there is no unimportant detail. And I am so guilty of saying like, that's a tiny detail, doesn't really matter. You don't need that. And I'm a huge advocate of cutting out the fluff. So I'm not saying do more, but I'm saying do what you do excellently, do it better. Take the things that you do and pull out every single detail of them and do them well. And I noticed that when I was at Disney, I saw this played out. I saw no unimportant detail. There are hidden Mickeys all over Disney. Like it could be a pattern on a wall and there'd be like a little tiny Mickey there somewhere. No unimportant detail, but it makes people feel like they're in Disney. It reinforces the brand. Like it was all these different things. I watched them wash trash cans because one of Disney's things that's important to them is having a clean place. And I was like, yo, if you're like actually scrubbing the trash can and making sure the trash can is clean and branded in the land that it's like, it was just no unimportant detail. They could have just thrown a green thing up there with a black trash bag and, you can throw your trash in it. Nobody would have thought twice, but it felt cleaner. It felt safer. It
Why is she comparing Disney with your MLM business?
felt more family friendly because the trash cans were clean and I felt comfortable touching the swinging door to put my cup in there. It sounds crazy, but there's no unimportant detail. Relentless pursuit of excellence. I thought it was so good. But in this book, The Hedgehog Concept, Based on extensive research Collins and his team did on what makes good businesses great, they found that 3 characteristics were consistently in play. They are, number 1, what you are deeply passionate about. Number 2, what drives your economic engine? And number 3, what can you be best in the world at? And where these things intersect is where excellence lives. When you think about Collins' idea in the context of the dip, it's easy to see the relationship between the pursuit of excellence and being passionate about what you'll do. You'll never get out of the dip if you're not passionate about your reason for being there in the first place. This is what we call your why. This is what we call your why. You'll never get out of the dip if you're not passionate about your reason for being there in the first place. Why are you here? Why are you doing this? What are you pursuing? What are you pursuing? And you won't find yourself in a dip unless you are pursuing excellence. For example, be your best. For example, to be the best in your world, you're going to face some challenges. And I just want you to know this. You can do this. Michelle, as you said, you can do this and you can do it better. You can do it better than you've been doing it. Now is not the time to quit. Now is the time to shift your focus to different priorities, perfecting your systems, becoming more excellent at selling, becoming more excellent at leading, becoming better at onboarding new teamies, creating better systems for follow-up. Now is the time to do all of those things in your business that you put off or that were on hold because you were too busy.
Also, those things that you never get paid for doing, you're already in a dip and you're feeling it in your income, if you're even earning any income. But now on top of that, you have to put in more work and efforts into things that you don't get paid for. Great. Sounds great.
Partying and selling and whatever. Now is the time to do all of those things that are an important part of building a big business. Doing them with passion, understanding why you're in the dip in the first place. That's the only way you'll ever get out, because that's how your motivation is linked to move forward every day. Be brave. Be brave. Be brave here and say, yes, I'm going to stay. Yes, I'm going to commit. Yes, I'm going to dig deep and work harder now than I ever have. Just because something is hard, you've heard me say this, just because something is hard does not mean it's not for you. Just because something is hard doesn't mean it's not for you, okay? Hard things are inevitable when you're trying to build a big business. You don't have big business, big income, big impact on others' lives around you.
By the way, when you join Scentsy, you're joining as an independent contractor. You're not building a business, big or small. You're not building a business. It's not your own business. You can be terminated. Lots of things can happen. It's not your business. You're not your own boss.
Without encountering hard things and without having hard times, without having times where it just freaking sucks. Be willing to suck. Be willing to do hard things. Be willing to get uncomfortable. Be willing to dig deep. Be willing to work hard right now. I always say that there are points in this business where you are working harder than you're being compensated for. And please believe me, that is so true. But if you keep doing those things through the dip and you stay committed to the process and you trust the process and you don't give up, at the next swell, you'll be compensated more than you deserve for the work that you're putting in. That's the goal. That's the goal. So here's what I want you to know. You're not alone. We've been through this before. We'll go through it again, and we're going to get through it together now. The key is not quitting. The key is focusing in on culture. The key is working hard at being simple, authentic, and generous. That's it. That's what we have to do now to move forward. So cheers to the dip, okay? Embrace it. Love it. Recognize it. Pivot. Decide what needs to change in your business. If what you're doing isn't working, don't do that and do something else. If what you're doing isn't working, that means it doesn't work. So try something else, okay? And for the love of all things good, don't lose sight of what you can really accomplish. Don't lose sight of excellence. Don't lose sight of why you're here, and don't lose sight of what you can be, who you can be, who you can impact, what you can do in the future. Don't lose sight of any of that stuff, because it's all coming. Love you.
All right, who is it coming for though? Because surely not for the majority of people, and it shows in the income disclosure statement. But anyways, excuse my chair. We're gonna wrap that one up here. This was really lengthy, but let me know down below your thoughts on this. She was not yelling this time, but she was still condescending and rude in my opinion. Leave your own comments down below, and thank you so much for watching, especially if you made it this far through a lengthy video. And don't forget that you can support my channel in a nice free way if you would like to, and that's by liking, subscribing. As always, big shout out to all my channel members. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.